But Simon, there's
Yeah.
so much to talk about. But one piece that you wrote that really caught my eye, was eye-boggling. I've never seen this put together. Was your piece on what is the real cost of this Iran debacle? I think, Sam, we have a graphic on it that you can put. Yeah, total cost of Trump's war. This is fascinating, because we all tend, or at least I can't say we all. I tend to think of it. Okay, what is the per diem cost of all the shit we're blowing up, and all the costs to keep these American service men and women over there, and all that stuff. The hard cost, I guess you would call that more. But this is a cumulative. Well, you tell me what it is. You wrote it.
Yeah, no, look, and I want to thank Claude for helping me assemble all of this complicated
I'm
data.
a Claude fan. Claude and I are close.
Claude and I, Claude's a good friend. And, but the point about this is that, like so much in our news coverage day to day, we take these kinds of facile, spoon-fed stuff from the White House and from Trump world, and we build out from it, right? Like the default is the bullshit that they put out every day, and then we have to sort of make sense of it all. It's one of the reasons independent media is so important right now. And so the conversation around the cost to the United States of the war has been obviously lie-filled stuff from the Pentagon, 50 billion here, 100 billion there, or whatever, seeming like it's, Trump, little nothings, pennies. But we also know the Pentagon has requested that Trump has requested an extra $500 billion this year to the $1 trillion annual budget. That's probably a permanent increase given the costs of this war and all the other things that Trump is doing. So even in terms of that narrow vein of like, what is the Pentagon spending? It's not $100 billion, it's trillions of dollars, right? And to finish the war, to replenish what's been lost. And Trump is stiffing us with that bill. We also know that the American people have paid much higher costs and fertilizer and food and all the other things, that inflation, gas, huge costs. We also know that the cost of the increased inflation means that we're not cutting interest rates. And so interest rates are staying high. And so another unbelievable cost. We know that because interest rates are staying high and the economy has slowed because of Trump's economic policies, the deficit has increased dramatically, costing the United States over the next 20 or 30 years, trillions of dollars more. And that's just here in the US. It's trillions and trillions of dollars that Trump is sticking us, this one man, if you could imagine a scenario that the founders wanted to prevent more than any other, it was exactly what's happened in Iran, right? Where a single guy, without any consultation with our allies, with Congress, made a decision that has cost the United States extraordinary trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars over many, many years. But the thing I showed today in that piece is the total cost to the world, not just the United States. Right. And it's many, many trillions of dollars in immediate costs across the entire world. So what Donald Trump has done, I mean, people have to realize that this is what our kids will be inheriting, is that he's not only interfered in the economic relationship between us and every other single person in the world through the tariffs, where we have punished and pummeled every country in the world and lessened their opportunity of working people, but the war has also impacted every single person in the world in a negative way, and driven up their costs and made it harder for them to farm and to run their small businesses. And so the costs here are astronomical, Olympian, right? Whatever words you want to use. And he's leaving us, not only in a far weaker position as a nation, because now Iran is, we look weak. Iran's in charge of the Strait of Hormuz, a far greater regional power. The American empire has stumbled, all those things. But the bill of this is going to be unbelievable. And it's why there's no version of our democracy that a president could have made a decision like this without consulting Congress and getting the approval of Congress, because of the scale of it. And so he's not only leaving us in a much weaker position, he's also leaving us with an unpaid bill of trillions of dollars. And what I argue in the piece is that the people who should pay for that should be the oligarchs who have enabled him. The
Right.
American people should not be stuck with that bill. You and I should not pay for a war, an illegal war that we did not authorize, because the bill is going to be. And so Elon, is a wealthy guy. We can take half of his money that he has and pay for all the stuff that he helped enable, the carnage. And so this is, I think that part of what I was getting at in this piece, Stuart, is that, and I'll wrap up, is that I think we're all dramatically underestimating, as angry as the American people are at his betrayal and his terrible government. I think we're actually dramatically underestimating the full scale of the damage that he's done to the United States, over a long period of time, not just in this temporal moment where prices are higher and our democracy is under threat. And he's been, the founding fathers for 250 years kept something like this from happening. But here we are now, and it's a reminder to us in the world about why democracy and freedom are better than autocracy and oligarchy, right? If you ever needed a graphic reminder, this is it.
I don't think, just to kind of give a little context on the military budget, it's very difficult to grasp how big the fucking budget is now.
Right.
It bounces around between 9 and 10 times larger than all of the next 9 and 10 combined. It is larger than the next 9 to 10 countries combined. And those are like some big countries, China, Russia, it's extraordinary. And they're talking about increasing it and giving Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump it's 500 billion more. It's insane. And I just have to say, because it's just a personal point of pain, that all this is happening on Roger Wicker's watch as chairman of the Armed Services Committee. Roger Wicker, senator from Mississippi. I helped work in his campaigns, known him forever. One of these guys has wanted to be chairman of the Armed Services Committee for many, many years, had been focused on a lot of interest, good, positive foreign policy relations for America, staunch proponent of NATO, USAID. I always thought we ought to spend more on USAID, and he's right, because soft power, it's the easiest money that we can spend, most effective. And here he is. And he's ushering in the era of Pete Hegseth. And I don't see a scenario here where America wins this war.
No,
because we've handed them basically this weapon this opportunity they have weaponized, that has long been speculated. For Donald Trump to say that they didn't, well, nobody told me about the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
It's like, it's just mind-boggling. There's ninth graders that study this stuff.
Stuart, just let's review. Let's take a step back, right? Part of what we do, you and I, when we get together once a month, is we take a step back from the day-to-day and look at everything. Trump took the wrong side of the Russia-Ukraine war, right? It was, enormous, unbelievable, world-altering mistake by Trump. He's fucked up this war in Iran, where now, the exact opposite of what he wanted to achieve has happened. Iran is now stronger and not weaker, and we are weaker and not stronger, and are suffering, right? His whole ridiculous Gaza debacle, where he's trying to, seize all the real estate on the Mediterranean and build a resort in Gaza, and I guess assuming that all the Gazans are just going to be the people that live there are going to be the maids and the cooks in all of the resorts that he's trying to build with Jared and Woodcock. This thing, Israel told him to F off this weekend on this ridiculous plan they have, right? He went to China and bent the knee to Xi and looked like a weak, groveling, sniveling, big blubbery baby man when he was over there in China. Like, everything that he's done, he's fucked up. And he is I use this line, I'm sorry for the swearing today, but he's a titanic fuck up. And this stuff is going to cost the country in our standing, our prestige, and just money, right? We're going to be poorer, we're going to be much poorer. He's doing all this, by the way, while also dramatically cutting benefits to the poorest people in the United States and all around the world. Millions of more people are losing SNAP than CBO anticipated. the erosion of people, the flowing of people off of SNAP is happening at a much higher rate than anyone anticipated because of what they've done, throwing millions and millions of people into greater food insecurity. And we know the dramatic healthcare cuts that are raising prices, making it harder for people to get care all over the country. It's incredible. We talk to candidates, both of our organizations. The stories that you're hearing from candidates on the ground about clinics closing and hospitals suffering, it's very real. This is not an abstract thing that's happening in communities all across the country. So it's the insult of this sort of unlimited budget spending without any regard, without any check, without any, and then while also just giving a lot less to the poorest and struggling people in America. The morality of this is outrageous. And, we need, part of the reason I wrote about this is I interviewed Greg Meeks, who's the House Foreign Affairs ranking member last week, who will be, one of the most important leaders of this country when we take back power in January, because he will be the face of the Democratic Party to the world as the head of foreign affairs. And he talked about how he's going to be traveling and going to capitals and waving the flag, and showing America that the pro-democracy forces are back in power. It was an important interview for me just to hear him with his ambition, right? Not just with his understandings, but his ambition and understanding the historical role that he was going to play. And Stuart, it just shows to me, my last point on this is that we spend a lot of time as a family talking about how when we're back in power, we're going to lower costs and fix healthcare. But this work that we have to do internationally is going to be of equal import for our future. And we need to create more space in our family for these conversations and to give our leaders more space to go lead on this and not feel like they always have to pivot back to kitchen table issues.